From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. Cattle markets surge to fresh highs.
Even with the reduction in cow slaughter that we have seen for the year, in my line of thinking, mathematically, we're still liquidating.
But are higher highs yet to come? It's the opposite story for crop prices. As prices crumble, fertilizer costs continue to soar.
Currently, it would take about 226 bushels to buy a ton of monoammonium phosphates, and that was 180 bushels at the beginning of this year.
With 4 consecutive years of poor profits for most major crops, it's a dire situation for some farmers.
I sold my tractor to a neighbor, and that's what helped pay for our family's move. So that was my last hurrah, if you will.
A special homecoming for this tractor. And a marriage proposal larger than life. Now for the news, the cattle market surging to fresh highs this week. August live cattle contracts surging more than $4, while feeders were up 5 on Tuesday. It comes as packer margins remain deeply in the red, and experts say fundamentals are still bullish, and that's because cash is supported by strong demand. And while the herd is seeing some rebuilding, it's happening extremely slowly.
Even with the reduction in cow slaughter that we have seen for the year, in my line of thinking, mathematically, we're still liquidating. Now, there's plenty of anecdotal evidence of people retaining heifers. There's certainly people talking about retaining heifers, but I don't think numerically we've reached a plateau yet to think we're into net expansion.
Cash is king. And, with one packer particularly coming out there and paying higher money in areas of the cattle belt on Friday.
And if you remember, it was just 2 weeks ago that USDA's cattle inventory report came out showing the smallest cow herd on record. While the cattle markets have set records, it's been the opposite for corn. The corn market continues to struggle, trying to price in a record yield as private firms print projections well above USDA's 181 bushel trendline yield. And then next week, we will get another supply and demand report from USDA.
USDA is going to do it all by satellite imagery. They're going to do it by crop ratings and their formula. So no boots on the ground. But when you look at it from that standpoint, obviously what they're going to see is an awfully good looking corn crop. So my guess is you're going to go on up. The question gets to be, do they bump it immediately up to 184, 185, something like that?
Pollination problems from tight tassel wrap and disease issues could trim yields, but so far the market is discounting it. And adding insult to injury, one analyst tells us very little new crop corn has been priced. Plus, farmers have 2024 corn yet to sell. And all of that is being reflected in the latest survey of farmer sentiments, which took another hit last month. The Ag Economy Barometer from Purdue University and the CME Group falling 11 points. That reading now sets at 135, as you can see right here. It was fueled by farmers' weaker perceptions of both current conditions and their expectations for the future.
54% of the respondents in this month's survey said they plan to reduce their investment in farm machinery this year compared to last year. That's up from 48% who felt that way a month earlier.
Farmers in July were somewhat more optimistic about future ag trade than they were a month earlier, with 43% of respondents saying they do expect ag exports to increase in the upcoming 5 years. And 74% of respondents said that the U.S. is headed in the right direction. Well, 90 to 100 mile per hour straight line winds blasted the Texas Panhandle last weekend, and it decimated crops while also crushing buildings. Good. Just take a look at this video. Justin Crownover is in Sunray, Texas. He shared this with us. They were caught in the storm in their truck. This just shows how damaging the rains and the winds were. Xcel Energy in Texas says the area saw winds reaching 100 miles per hour. And here's some of that damage. You can see it shredded corn, sorghum, and cotton fields. And as you can see, crops in the storm's path were pretty much a total loss. Farmer Casey Kimbrell telling us that the storm was about 10 miles wide and went for about 15 miles. He estimates it also turned over about 40 pivot irrigation systems in that area. That's it for the news. Well, we're keeping a close eye on some possible moisture that could hit the middle of this month. Drew Lerner has details in Weather Next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer. Plant with confidence. Plant the #1 corn and soybean seed in the U.S. Pioneer.